I'm Cheryl Scanlon with Way of Life Coaching. Hello, and today we're going to talk about one of those top 10 skills that employers are looking for in employees. This topic is critical thinking and analysis. When you first come out of high school or college, yes, they are looking at class rank and GPAs. But after you get through that first hurdle, there's something much more important than employers are looking for from you. And that is your ability to creatively and adeptly solve problems. It's no longer about how you perform in the classroom, but how you interact with your world. I'll give you an example from a client. He's a hiring manager for a ministry, and he's looking for a specialized skill. And as he was coming up with his interview questions, one of the questions that he came up with is, and I'm going to read it so I have it correct, think of a time when you were facing a difficult problem. How did you go about solving it? You see, employers aren't going to interview you and say, why did you get a bad grade here? Or this was a good professor, or this was a bad professor, and that's the reason why you didn't do well in a test. They're not going to care about those things. For those of you who did not perform so well in school, you have another opportunity. I'm going to give you another example. You can Google this. There's a gentleman out there, his name is Laszlo Bock from Google, and he's one of the executives that hires. Here's one of the questions he asks. Give me an example of a time when you solved an analytically difficult problem. He says this gives the interviewer data about the candidate's experience, how they dealt with a real-life situation, and what the candidate thought was a difficult problem or task. In order for you to develop in this area, it's important to start rearranging your relationship to problems and start looking at problems as opportunities. Think of it this way. In relationship to problems and cost, which category would you find yourself in? Are you one of those who try to avoid problems at all cost? Are you one of those who create problems at everyone else's cost? Or are you one of those that sees a potential problem and looks at how can I solve this to save cost to the company and to people? Which one are you? Which one do you think your employer would be looking for? How does critical thinking have to do with all of this? Well, identifying problems is part of it, and we do have another video to help you sort through how do you go about identifying problems. But there's something that has to happen before you go into the problem-solving part, and that is how you analyze a situation. How do you assess the information that would be important to take into consideration? In college, a professor would test your critical thinking skills, and he may give you a complex reading problem with seemingly, what's this information doing in here, kind of stuff in there. And so you, in your effort to answer the problem and work by a clock, dismiss some information that winds up being critical to truly solving the problem and getting the, quote, right answer. In real life, you're going to be receiving data from all sorts of places, from the employer, from the environment, from the people around you, even from yourself. There are people involved, the organization goals driving decisions, financials creating restrictions, your own motivation and skills creating limitations or opportunities. And you will need to learn how to incorporate data from all these different sources and consider the relevance of each one. Do you want to start getting better at this? You need to start reading. You need to find a complex problem somewhere, anywhere. It could be solving world hunger, finding a way to provide clean drinking water for the world, looking for renewable resources, resolving a school budget issue. Start considering all the elements and the environments that would be involved in solving that complex problem. Consider, who would you talk to? What would you ask? Where could you go for resources? What have people tried in the past? Learn how to take a 360 view around the problem from different angles and train yourself to begin to think three-dimensionally about problems. That's how you develop your critical thinking skills. If this is an area that you would like to work, we have free e-coaching available to you. There's prompts on the website that will help you to go through that process. We hope that you'll take advantage of that. Take care.